Hey Natalie.
Hi.
So first up, you've been one of our members here for quite a while. So give me a little bit of background about where you're at before you actually came to the Fit Body Farm.
Okay, so I think I've been at Body Farm now for 2.5 years, even 2 years past sort of the start of this year. And at that point, I think I was like 15 and a half stone, really uncomfortable in everything that I was wearing, really unfit, like covering myself in really baggy clothes all the time. Always wore really big heavy scarves to try and cover the top of my body, and had this really big thing about like if I was eating and things, then I would go and sit in my car just because I hated people seeing what I was eating, and a bit of a secret eater. That was kind of my big thing. But I'd been trying to go to the gym or like go for walks and cycles and stuff, but wasn't like that motivated to do it on my own. Like like I've never been a big self motivator, so that was like a big appeal here. As my sister had kind of said about coming along and coming here, and then it was a bit daunting at first, but when I come along and there was like kind of group environment, it was quite encouraging, and like yourself and it was Flo at the time were like coming down and showing me all the different exercises and quite kind of quietly encouraging when people that you could see that were a wee bit on the shyer side. But it was just a totally different environment than what I was used to before.
So you did the Fit Body Farm first.
Yeah.
So how did that go?
Yeah, that was really good. I think for me, like at first, that was a really big thing about sort of being mindful about food, and especially exercise and things as well. But I saw a really big weight loss really quickly right at the start when I joined the farm, and then kind of it slowed down, but I was still seeing progress all the time, and I could see like my strength and my fitness getting better all the time, and that kind of was giving me a bit of drive to want to do something else.
Yeah.
Which then worked really well when Fit Body Club started.
Yeah.
Because that for me was like a natural progression, and I was feeling a bit more motivated and enthusiastic about fitness and kind of stepping up what I was doing. So I've been in Fit Body Club since the word go.
Aye, so that'll pretty much be, God, that could be nearly 2 years of Fit Body Club. So anybody watching this might think it's just a 12-week programme, but it was very much something that people can
never missed it.
People can stay involved in. Cool. So since you started Fit Body Club, it's obviously a little bit different. Like, what kind of benefits have you seen of the Fit Body Club programme?
So I know, like, so sort of comparing now from when I very first started. When I very first started, I kept seeing that big weight loss. I had a really big shift. I think it was nearly another stone in that 12 weeks. Big drop in my body fat percentage and a just general change in my shape, which I'd never actually had before. Like, I'd had weight loss, but my shape was always pretty constant, pretty pear-shaped, small at the top, bigger at the bottom. But when I first started the farm, I definitely saw myself become a wee bit more kind of refined, a wee bit more toned than I was used to, and that for me was the big drive, because it was like, okay, it's not just numbers on the scale anymore, I'm actually seeing like physical changes. And then I think compared to now, because I'm sort of giving myself, obviously my goals are totally different to when I first started. I've had that big weight loss, and now for me it's all about kind of maintaining and just keeping my shape where I'm happy, and trying to keep that healthy attitude with food and fitness. So things like we always set ourselves little goals every week, or we've got a wee leaderboard. I think someone else had said about that before actually, and you can see yourself constantly lifting heavier, or your technique's better, or you're always setting yourself little personal goals, and it's always really fun to achieve that. So although your goals and the longer you're here might be slightly different, as long as you're still setting yourself something, I think that for me is still my motivation. But I find like having been doing all of this, it's given me motivation as well, like an encouragement to try other areas as well. Like, I now do like Thai kickboxing, but this is still my main thing, and it's just kind of giving me that bit of confidence to try other areas as well, which is pretty good.
Brilliant. And for you then, what's different about, you've kind of touched on this, but like, what's different about Fit Body Club to other things you've maybe tried, or what is it you personally enjoy about the Fit Body Club environment?
So actually probably speaking about the Fit Body Farm as a whole, the big thing for me was that it, you know, it was quite, although it's a group environment, you know, everybody really like interacts with you, makes it really personal, everybody's really friendly, you know, there's a buddy system, so like when I first started there was someone that I could kind of pair with a little bit, and that's continued on through to Fit Body Club, whereas now, you know, when you're doing your workouts and things, you're kind of working alongside someone else, so they're encouraging you and you're kind of pushing them as well. It's always the guidance from you guys is like that's the most important thing, I think, you know, from when we were in the farm and you guys were kind of coming down and making sure our technique and everything was okay and kind of quietly pushing you. It's the same where we are now, it's just a slightly smaller environment, and obviously the exercises are different in that it's strength training, but there's always that, you know, you've always got someone else pushing you, and I really like that. I'm not a self-motivator. I could maybe go to a gym, but I'd be standing there like, I really can't be bothered doing this, I really need someone else to push me, and you've always kind of got that here. And then the diet side of things as well, you know, there's so many different ways to keep yourself accountable when everybody else is kind of checking on you too, like from using like MyFitnessPal, taking pictures of your food, like wee things like that, or you know, like the kind of regime of the food always kind of changes, and that keeps it interesting. For me, just, you know, I'm a sucker for making the same foods all the time, and even now I still do that. It's probably a bit of a kind of safety blanket, but when the routine of what you're kind of doing in relation to your diet changes every few weeks, kind of keeps you on top of it and still keeps you mindful about it. So I think all of those kind of combined is, I would say definitely like the coaching and the kind of group environment's really supportive and really encouraging.